Have you ever heard stories from the military? I'm not talking about grand battles or heroic charges, but the quieter, stranger tales that get whispered in the barracks late at night. Every platoon, every company seems to have one. A story that makes the hair on your arms stand up. Today, I want to share one of those stories with you. A mystery that has puzzled soldiers for decades. The tale of the empty bed. Imagine this. You're a fresh recruit, just arrived at your new barracks. Everything is new, intimidating, and a bit overwhelming. You and your fellow rookies are getting settled, unpacking your gear, and trying to figure out the unwritten rules of this new world. The room is filled with rows of identical metal bunk beds, each with a thin mattress and tightly tucked sheets. But as you look around, you notice something odd. Right in the middle of the room, there's one bed that's different. It's a bottom bunk, and it's made with a precision that seems almost inhuman. The blanket is pulled so taut it looks like a solid surface. The pillow is perfectly fluffed and centered. The corners are so sharp you could probably cut your finger on them. It's a work of art. A perfect example of military discipline. But here's the strange part. No one sleeps in it. Ever. As the days turn into weeks, you notice the bed is never disturbed. While everyone else's bunk gets messy and has to be remade every single morning in a frantic rush before inspection, this one bed remains untouched, pristine, a silent monument in the middle of the bustling room. No name tag is slotted above it. No gear is stowed underneath it. It's as if it exists in its own separate reality. Curiosity gets the better of you. You might ask one of the more experienced soldiers, a corporal who's been around for a while. "Hey, what's the deal with that bed?" You'd whisper. The corporal would likely glance over, his expression turning serious. He'd tell you, "Don't touch it. Don't even think about sitting on it. Just leave it alone." And that's all he'd say. The warning is clear, but the reason remains a mystery. This only fuels the speculation among the new recruits. Some guess it as a bed reserved for a visiting general or a high-ranking officer, kept in a state of constant readiness. Others think it's a training tool, a perfect standard that everyone is supposed to emulate, a constant reminder of what's expected. A few even joke that it's haunted, a throwaway comment that gets a nervous laugh from the group. But as time goes on, that joke starts to feel less and less like a joke. You see, strange things happen around that bed. Sometimes, late at night, when the only sounds are the soft breathing and occasional snores of sleeping soldiers, you might hear a faint, rustling sound coming from that bunk, a soft creak, as if someone just shifted their weight. You open your eyes, straining to see in the dim moonlight filtering through the window, but there's nothing there. The bed is still perfectly made, empty and silent. One night a new recruit, bolder and more skeptical than the rest, decides he's had enough of the mystery. He's tired. His own bed is on the top bunk, and the empty, inviting bottom bunk looks too good to pass up. Ignoring the warnings, he tosses his pillow onto the perfect bed and lies down. The other soldiers in the room watch in stunned silence. For a moment, nothing happens. The recruit smirks, as if to say, "See, it's just a bed." But then, an icy chill sweeps through the room. It's not just a draft. It's a deep, bone-gnawing cold that seems to radiate from the bed itself. The recruit suddenly gasps, his eyes wide with a terror you've never seen before. He scrambles off the bed as if he has been booned. His face pale. He never speaks of what he felt or saw, but from that day on, he avoids that corner of the room like the plague, and he never questions the rule again. The story deepens. The real legend, the one the old sergeants will only tell you if they've had a few drinks and are feeling nostalgic, goes back many years. They say that bed wasn't always empty. A long, long time ago, a young soldier was assigned to that very bunk. His name is lost to time, or maybe people are just afraid to say it out loud. He was a good soldier, they say. Quiet, diligent, always did his duty without complaint. He kept his area spotless, and his bed was always the most perfectly made in the entire platoon. He was just a regular guy, doing his time, waiting to go home. Then, one day, he was gone. It wasn't a dramatic disappearance. He didn't run away, he wasn't transferred, and he wasn't sent on a special mission. He was there for morning formation, and then he just wasn't. His belongings were still neatly packed in his uniform was hanging in his locker, and his bed was, as always, perfectly made. He just vanished from the face of the earth, right from inside the barracks. A massive search was launched. They scoured the entire base, every building, every field, every corner. They checked the records. They questioned everyone in his platoon, but there was no trace of him. It was as if he had simply ceased to exist. The official investigation eventually hit a dead end, and the case was closed, filed away as an unsolved mystery. But the military has a record for everything, and this is where the story gets really chilling. Someone, a curious clerk, or maybe an officer who couldn't let it go, decided to dig into the old digital archives. They looked up the service records for the barracks, going back decades. They found the roster for that specific platoon, from that specific year. And they found his name. They found his enlistment date, his training records, his unit assignment. It was all there, clear as day. He was assigned to that room, to that very bunk. But when they tried to follow his record further, they hit a wall. His military ID number, the unique code that follows a soldier from enlistment to discharge, and even after death, just stops. It doesn't end with a discharge date. It doesn't end with a killed in action or deceased notation. It doesn't end with a transfer order. The line of code, the digital trail of his entire military existence, simply terminates abruptly. After the entry assigning him to that barracks room, there is nothing. Just a void, an empty space where the rest of a man's life should be. This is the story that gets passed down from one generation of soldiers to the next. The empty bed isn't a memorial for a hero who fell in battle. It's not for a visiting officer. It's his, the soldier who never left. They say he's still on duty, forever bound to his post. He still makes his bed every morning before anyone else is awake, maintaining the perfect standard he was known for. He is the silent guardian of the barracks, the ghost of the platoon. The soldiers don't talk about it much, but they know. They feel Italiano. That's why they don't touch the bed. It's not just about rules or superstition. It's about respect. Respect for a fellow soldier who is still serving in his own way. They leave the bed for him. It's his space, his eternal post. So if you ever find yourself in an old military barracks and you see a bed that's just a little too perfect, a little too neat, with no one assigned to it, maybe don't ask why. Just nod, show some respect, and leave it be. Some duties never end. What do you think? Is this just a spooky story told to keep new recruits in line? Or is there something more to it? Let me know your own theories, or if you've heard similar stories in the comments below. These kinds of legends are a fascinating part of military culture all over the world. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this dive into the unexplained, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more strange stories. See you next time.